You are watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. info@netsoftakademy.com. www.netsoftakademy.com.
Welcome back to the final module in the AZ500 beginner series. So far, we explored identities, access, infrastructure security, data protection, and monitoring. In this last module, we are going to talk about what happens when something goes wrong and how you can build a secure, compliant, and well-governed Azure environment. So let's get started. Let's begin with the fundamentals of incident response. A security incident could be anything from unauthorized access to a misconfigured firewall or malware detection. Your goal as a security engineer is to detect, investigate, and respond to those incidents as quickly and efficiently as possible. In Azure, that response is often driven by a combination of logs, alerts, automation, and collaboration between your other team members. Now, one of the best tools for this is the Microsoft Defender for Cloud, used to be called Security Center. Now, this service, or you can say this tool, provides real-time security alerts based on threat intelligence and analytics. You can view incident directly in the Azure portal, investigate the affected resources, and get step-by-step remediation guidance. Yes, Azure also actually help you to fix a situation. Now, for example, if there is a brute force attack against a virtual machine, Defender will generate an alert, link it to the relevant logs, and show the impacted systems so you can act quickly. Now, if you want faster response and also more consistent response, you can set up automation using services like Azure Logic Apps and Playbooks. Here, a playbook is just a predefined set of actions triggered by a security alert. For instance, if an alert is raised for a compromised account, a playbook could automatically disable that account immediately and notify the security team, and also open a ticket in your ticketing system or any ITSM tools you're using. Well, this kind of automation helps reduce human error and speed up your reaction time to any disruption. Now, beyond response, you also need to ensure that your environment aligns with regulations and compliance standards. Here, Azure provides built-in compliance frameworks for many common standards worldwide, including ISO, NIST, PCI DSS, and even GDPR from the European side, or HIPAA from American side. Everything is included. Here you can use the regulatory compliance blade in Defender for Cloud to see how your environment maps to these standards and where improvements can be made. Next, we have one more tool which can create a very restrictive environment. Well, with this restriction, I'm talking about Azure policies. This is a powerful governance tool that lets you, as the admin, define and enforce rules across your environment. Now, for example, you can create policies that require encryption. You can block public IPs or enforce specific VM sizes. Or you can make sure that everyone has to add tags to their resource. Here, the security baselines are also used. Security baselines are just collections of recommended policies based on best practices, of course. that you can apply to ensure that your environment is configured properly to meet enterprise security standards. And finally, we have Azure Blueprints. But remember, Azure is getting rid of Blueprints. It's an old technology. But I will still discuss it. Now, Azure Blueprint is a tool that lets you package up policies, RBAC roles, ARM template, and resource group into a single reusable deployment package. This is perfect for setting up new environment that needs to comply with organizational needs or regulatory compliance, like development, test, or production subscription can be used. Think of Blueprint as a way to stamp out governed, secure, and consistent environments every time. So whenever someone needs a new environment to be created, well, you can use Blueprint and rest assured that the new environment will still follow all the compliances. Now let's go to our portal and see where you can find these services, what the dashboard looks like.
All right, now let's check out how you can create and assign policy in Azure ecosystem, especially in Azure cloud environment. So you will go to your Azure portal and search for policies. And then you will click on definitions here. And then you will find the definition for your scenario. There are hundreds of definitions here. And according to your scenario, you will find it and then you will click on it. You can also use the search field to filter your, I will say, the policy. So what I want is to apply allowed location policy on my resource group. I'll just type that. Perfect. Now let's select a policy. How about this one? Or allowed location. Remember, these are two different policies. Allowed location is just for the resource group here, and this one is for resources. Let's click on it. Once you click on the policy, then you will click on Assign Policy. And this is where you will select the scope. You can select the whole subscription, then all the resource group and all the resources have to follow this policy. Or you can also target a specific resource group. So let's say demo in my case. Then you can also exclude some resource group if you want. Let's say you selected the whole subscription and there are 20 resource groups and you only want your policy to take effect on 19 resource groups. In that case, you will not do it manually 19 times. You will not assign your policy 19 times. Well, you will assign your policy once to the whole subscription, then put that one remaining resource group in exclusion list. Next is parameters. This is where you set the variable. So my policy is for allowed location, so I will see all the locations here. And I will say the allowed location is not France. I'm okay with UK South. Or maybe France it is. So I'll go with France Central. Click next. This is where you can create remediation. So you can add your automation here so that if a policy is not followed by a resource, then with the help of automation, you can bring that resource back to the compliance. Here you can add the message for all the users who are not compliant. I'll just say demo and create the policy and assign it. And it is done. So now this policy is also assigned to someone. So if you go to assignments, you will find your policy there, allowed location. Perfect. And you can always change or edit your policy at any given time. Okay, so this is done. Now, once the policy is assigned, you will go back to policy and click on overview page. This is where you will see that what resources are actually compliant and what resources are not. Now, when you assign a policy, you may have to wait for a while because it takes time to scan your environment and then give you the report. Okay, so the policy is now created. Let's try to create a resource in some other region. So I will try to create a virtual network, but not in France. So click on Create. Select my resource group, Demo VNet, and I want to create this in, let's say, Africa. Next, next, next. Validated. It should be validated. Yeah, because the information is all good. And click on Create. Now the policy should kick in and, it will not allow me to create any resource outside my policy region. What if I go back and say, no, I want to create this in France? And create. All right, it is taking time. And it should actually work because right now I am following the policy. And here you go, it works. So this is the method to create your policy and apply it on your environment so that everyone stays within the boundary. They have to follow the rules and they stay compliant.
And that wraps up the whole AZ500 beginner series. You just covered the core building blocks of Azure security though, from identity to governance. You are now ready to dive deeper. Practice in real Azure environment and create your own sandbox. When you create your own sandbox, you will be able to apply each and every logic, practice it, and then you will be ready for AZ500 certification as well. Well, if this series helped you to get started at least, then hit a like button. Subscribe to our channel and drop a comment to let me know what you want to learn next. Thanks for watching and best of luck for your Azure security journey.
Thank you for watching NetSoft IT Academy. 905-812-2923. Info@netsoftatacademy.com. www.netsoftatacademy.com.